Hello, everyone, and we're gonna be getting rid of somebody here. Just a minute. Okay, how's it going now?
All right. It's
All
great.
right,
Yeah,
there we
dealing with
go.
technical difficulties.
Technical difficulties. It started us way late. So anyway, it's Jim. It's Amadeus, and it's been hell for the last half an hour, but we're here. So Amadeus, anything going on? It's a usually Wednesdays. It's a decent soccer day.
Yeah, it's a nice Champions League day. It's the final match day for match day 6 of the group stage. So this is it. Once these teams play at 3 o'clock, all the groups will be all said and done, and we'll know
Hmm.
who the group winners are, who's advancing in second, and who's dropping down to Europa.
Well, there you go. So we'll have a lot to be known. Anything going on from a standpoint of things to watch? Some stuff that you would suggest we pay attention to today.
Yeah, so obviously the Champions League at 3 o'clock. There's going to be a nice slate for that. But yeah, other than that, not really much going on till the weekend. Obviously, we have the bowl games and the NFL all over the
Hmm.
weekend. But yeah, this week it's really just NBA, college basketball, and NHL. And
Hmm.
honestly, even the college basketball has been pretty weak. There's only been less than 20 games a day for the last few days. So yeah, it looks like we're getting into that time though where they're going to be breaking soon, so they're probably not overloading the schedule there. So
Well, they have the
yeah,
holiday tournaments, which they have. You know, for instance, the Orange Bowl has a tournament. The Sugar Bowl has a tournament. So they have tournaments that are they run concurrently with some of the major bowl games. So you got that. So there's some holiday tournaments um, that have some juice to them, but nothing major. So Arizona and Purdue was yesterday's big game, and that game was played actually in the afternoon. So um, from that standpoint, it was pretty amazing. But not that much. A great deal of it is being done off the court, and that's talking about what's going on with Coach Belichick. We've talked about it. You actually predicted long, long ago that this probably would be the last season, at least in New England, for the six-time Super Bowl champion coach, and it looks like the Kraft family is tapped into your psyche there, my friend.
yeah, I was calling for this at the beginning of the season, but even so, I kind of laughed when I saw that report because I could have sworn, like a month or two ago, you came you came in on the show with some insider knowledge about how Belichick won't be continuing on after the season. So when I saw that report, I honestly I was shocked that it was even a report because we had reported it a month and a half ago that he
Right.
wasn't going to be done. So yeah, I mean, obviously NBC doesn't watch the show, and they suffered because of it because they would have known a month and a half ago he wasn't going to be coaching at the end of the year.
Definitely save him some time. Um, Kind of an off the field question with regard to very interesting, and that is that Al Michaels, who we know has done a great job with Amazon in their Thursday Night Football package, when he left NBC because of the fact that his contract ran out and Amazon picked it up, he was given by the then president of NBC emeritus status, and the reason he that was the case was he would that would allow him to call one football game, which would be a probably a playoff game, which it was last year. If you remember, he called the Chargers playoff game, the one they came back. I'm sorry, Jacksonville against the Chargers, the one that they came back from all those points in the second half to win. Um, with Tony Dungy, and this year, not so much. Al's getting passed over in that, and it's going to be Ian Eagle's son who's going to take that position, and he's going to make the call this year for the playoff game. So Uncle Al is not doing playoffs for the first time in I gotta believe, gosh, maybe 30, 35 years, something like that.
Yeah, it feels like there's got to be a little more to that, but
Nah, I think NBC. Well, NBC changed presidents, so it's the only as good as the deal that you struck with the guy who was there at the time. Um, I think they want to, cultivate some of these guys that they have. And young Mr. Ian Eagle is a guy who they really like. And so, he's going to be calling the playoff game. And Mike, Al will be sitting back in Brentwood in his lovely state and watching the game on television.
yeah. So well, we'll see how Iron Eagle's son answers the call.
That's right. We'll see if he measures up. But there you go from that standpoint. Um, One quick thing we can delve into, a couple of ideas that of what's going to be important coming into the playoffs. One of the things that has been brought up is the lack of quality officiating in the league this year, and the concern is that perhaps, just perhaps, that that this year might be a difficult one for the officials who've taken, who have on a couple of occasions gotten in the way of how these games have been played. And when you've got so much on the line as you do in playoffs, and certainly in these last 4 weeks of the season, the last thing you want to do is see the officials making the decision as to who wins and who loses.
Yeah, definitely. It feels like it's been like that for a few years now.
True.
Officiating has gone downhill over the last 3 years in the
Right. If you ask
NFL.
the Saints, the Saints and their phantom, their phantom call of, no interference call when they got mugged in the end zone. Yeah, there definitely has been 4 or 5 years of it.
Yeah, so it's definitely going to be interesting to see what happens. Just because,
Mm.
yeah, I agree. If you ask me, there's none of the refs are good enough to do playoffs.
Bring in college guys. We'll take them. So there's that. Okay, here's what we got. Um, the Jaguars, the Broncos, the Texans, the Browns, the Colts, the Bills, the Steelers, and the Bengals. Those are your outside look at it right now for who gets the wild card. And if you had to guess out of that group, um, what are your thoughts?
Yeah, I mean it's the AFC specifically
Mm-hmm.
is a very rough race, right?
Yeah.
Just because there's so many teams, it seems like in that 7-6 range. Obviously, we
Mm-hmm.
have the entire AFC North is 7-6 or better. So
Right.
so right there, there's enough teams to fill all the wild card spots
Right.
there. But then you got a 7-6 Bills team, you got the 7-6 Texans and Colts. Like, look at this. There's two teams and a 7-6 Broncos. So we got teams basically from every division, which definitely is not the norm. Usually there's always
Yeah.
one weak division in there where like the team's struggling to get over 500, like the NFC South.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, this year it's like there's a clear dominant team in each division,
Mm-hmm.
and there are some clear good ones in the AFC. So if I had to guess,
Mm-hmm.
I would think the Browns are in the best position just because obviously they have that great defense and they're already at 8 wins. So
Mm-hmm.
that gives them a bit of an advantage as obviously they're in the driver's seat. So I
Right.
could see the Browns taking one. I think the Bills I know a lot of people. A lot of people I talked to at the beginning of the season were down on the Bills this year, and
Hmm.
they were very right because obviously the Bills have
Yeah.
underperformed up to this point. But I think they might be able to make a bit of a wild card run. I know they have a very tough schedule to end the season, but at the same time, they almost picked up a win in Philadelphia. They got the
Hmm.
win in Kansas City. So they're beating these good teams. And I think that win against Kansas City might give them some momentum towards the end of the year. So I could see the Bills making a bit of a run.
Hmm.
I'm going to say the Browns. And the third one, it might just be the Broncos, honestly.
I was gonna say, the Broncos have won 6 of the last 7 games. Somehow Sean Payton has resurrected the team from the dead. It's a much more balanced team, and they seem to have gotten his concept of offense. I would also agree with you on the Browns. I think that if Joe Flacco's resurgence continues, they've got a running game, all right, to go with that defense. They don't need necessarily to have somebody throwing 300 yards a game, uh, you know, for the offense. So if Flacco can manage the games, and remember, one of the things that is against the teams, the Bengals, the Steelers, and to a degree the Browns, is that they have to play each other before the end of the season. So that's kind of a screwed up thing. That's gonna make a problem for somebody getting in there. So, but I do think of that lot of the Browns, the Steelers, and um, and the Bengals. I do think that probably the best team, balance from defense and offense, has got to be the Brownies.
Yeah, definitely. I would agree with that. Just because I think you're starting to see the Steelers take a step back, and then obviously the
Yeah.
Bengals have been great with Jake Browning, but he's only going to take them so far. They're not
Right.
they're not a playoff team without Joe Burrow.
Let me ask you one quick question about talent wise. Depending upon Trevor Lawrence, the Jaguars should be better than they're playing.
Yeah, the Jaguars. Obviously they had that very hot streak
Right.
during the middle of the season. That started in good old jolly old London, but
Right.
yeah, lately they haven't been great. Obviously, the injury to Trevor Lawrence
Hmm.
wasn't great, but I don't know if you really want to fault them for last week. I mean, they still, yeah, they were trailing the whole game, but they scored 27 points on the road against a very good defense.
Hmm.
Obviously, we've seen the Browns take down some good teams at home this year. Obviously, they have that win, that first win, or sorry, that win against the 49ers, which was their first loss of the season and kind of sent them on that little 3-game spiral. But yeah, this Browns team is one of the better defenses in the NFL for sure. They're a very tough team to play at home. I think the fact that the Jaguars scored 27 points in that
Hmm.
game is definitely a good sign. So I don't know
Hmm.
if I'm as worried as the Jaguars going forward. Although it doesn't help that Christian Kirk is on the IR, and
Right.
now the injuries are starting to
Pile
pile
up.
up,
Yeah.
especially with your banged up quarterback already. So that's my
Yeah.
only concern with the Jaguars is the injuries. But that's not something you can control, right? That's something you just got to look at the week of and say, okay, these guys are out. That changes the landscape of the team.
Right. Um, you say something which I agree 100% with, and that is defense travels. And defense also travels really well in the month of December and January when it's cold and when the defensive players know where they're going and the offensive players may not. So, it's a lot more difficult to scheme for that. And should be interesting to see. Uh, Cleveland definitely has a good defense, and that should bode well for them as they do what they do here. They just can't pull a Cleveland and do something stupid at that point in time. We'll take a look next time at what's going on in the NFC, which is crazy. All right, so yesterday the big news came out about Otani and the contract. And basically, it's a you were talking before you came on about the importance of shopping. Okay, well, Otani and the Dodgers have a deal where you know, it's kind of like they put him on layaway, right? They're getting him for a certain amount of money per year, which is ridiculously cheap for the first 10 years of that contract. And it's so backloaded that the final 10 years of the contract is basically where close to a quarter of $1 billion. I'm sorry, close to $500 million is going to be paid after he quits playing.
Yeah, definitely. Obviously, the structure of the contract is the talk of the town, but I think it's a very smart move by the
Oh
Dodgers.
yeah.
It's a great way that obviously, that was probably part of the pitch. You're going to be
Hmm.
on a competitive team and you want to win a World Series. So let us structure the contract this way, and then we can get even more. I know we have a stacked team already,
Hmm.
but whatever pieces we're missing, we'll go get them. And we'll continue to be competitive
Hmm.
year in and year out that you're here.
Well, it's funny because he calls Baez at CAA, and he says, "Look, I've got an idea. This is how I want to approach it." And he says, "I'm not worried about the money, meaning the money per year. Here's what I want to do. I want to see what their plan is in their minor league system, and he goes, and he absolutely said it. He goes, I want to be either in a warm weather town or a town with a dome. And he goes, there's only one dome, and here's how he put it. There's only one dome I'm comfortable in, and that's in Toronto. And the reason, and this is the crazy part, the reason is that dome, when it was built, all right, which has been a while ago, and I'm sure it's been renovated a couple times, but it was built by the same people that built the Tokyo Dome, which is where Otani played when he played in the Japanese League. So he was very comfortable with that situation. So he actually, the only trip, Otani didn't make the trip to Toronto. We know that. Otani didn't make the trip to Toronto because he's played there. So he knows what the dome's like. And he knows what the city's like. But he did make a trip to Dunedin, which is their spring training facility. And he liked that. So the Giants, who you would have thought, the Giants actually had made a bid not dissimilar to the one that the Dodgers made. But Otani didn't like the park. It wasn't a good hitter's park for a left-hander, and unless you're Barry Bonds. And so he wasn't crazy about the Giants deal. And frankly, I don't think he ever really wanted out of Southern California. And so when the Dodgers came through with the deal they made, he was very excited about it. So I think when you and I were talking back last summer and said, the idea of just making the trip up, up the 40 miles from Anaheim to Dodger Stadium was a trip that he wasn't opposed to making.
Yep, that's obviously what he's going to be doing now.
Yeah, he said that he wants to stay in a warm climate because there's Amadeus. It's funny in baseball and in other sports as well. I think you put Steph Curry in basketball in this and some other guys. Otani is like, your when you play baseball, your best baseball years, as far as enjoying the game, is probably when you're somewhere between 10 and 12, right? Because that's when you want to go out and you want to play every day. Whether it's bouncing the ball off the wall, to yourself, or playing with some friends in the neighborhood, or playing Little League baseball. You just want to play baseball. You don't care about anything else. You take your glove and the ball, put it on the nightstand next to your to your bed. You're listening to the radio or watching TV. You're watching the games. That's the exciting time. And there's about a handful of guys I can name now who fall into that category. Bryce Harper being one of them, Trey Turner being another, Otani being another one. I mean, they're guys who they just love to play baseball, and they don't. I'm not saying that they don't care about the money because obviously they do, but so in this case, he makes $35 million right now before the Dodgers deal, which will enhance his ability to make even more money off the field. His the endorsement money he makes in Japan and the endorsement money he makes from what he's doing here in the States is $35 million. So he decided, hey, look, I'm making $35 million. I can make between 35 and 40, if not even more, in endorsements between now and in that 10-year period. So he's taking like $2 million a year on the contract. He's taking less than 97%. He's leaving 97% of his contract on the table to be picked up later. So he cares about what things are going to be like for the next 10 years. And like I said, he came in with a very interesting concept. And I know a lot of people are saying, well, maybe others will do that. Well, no, probably not, because others don't have the off the field endorsement money that Otani's picking up. When you're picking up $35 million, and that's before you got the Dodger deal, you definitely are doing fine. So I think that prior to that, by the way, the most money deferred was Max Scherzer's deal with Nationals when he signed a $210 million deal, and 50% of that money was deferred, which Max wanted it that way. So, it's a nice little annuity from that standpoint. So $105 million was put in a in a payment plan that continues to pay Max as we speak. So there's that. So the Otani deal, unique. I don't think we'll ever see another one like it. Simply because, as I said before, he was a worldwide superstar. I assume guys like, as we said, LeBron and guys like that probably could do something like that in basketball. But in baseball, I don't think you're going to see that.
Yeah, definitely, and it's also it's a big character thing, right? Like Tom
Mm-hmm.
Brady was that kind of guy where he would
Yep.
always take the pay cut because he wanted the team to be good. So
Restructured his contract, right?
yeah, so I think it also shows you where Otani's head at,
Mm-hmm.
right? He's not just in it for himself. He's got to get
Mm-hmm.
paid. He doesn't care because a lot of guys, they'll take the
Yeah.
big money knowing, well, it's just gonna be me. But as long
Right.
as they're paying me, it doesn't matter, right? I'll go out there and do whatever until I break my leg and can't play anymore, and then the team's really screwed. So
Well, I mean, that goes back to A-Rod making that deal when he left the Mariners and went to the Rangers. At the time, he got a deal for $250 million, which was in those days was broke the bank kind of money, and the Rangers didn't have any money to spend to go to put players around him. And in hindsight, he said, he would have taken less money and basically found the team he wanted to play for, if he had to do it over again. Because he said at the end of the day, he still would have made the money that he needed to make.
yeah,
So, sometimes you make that deal, and, Otani went in with a whole different look at it. And normally normally the players don't come to the agent and say, here's how we want to do it. But he did. And, and you got to remember, a lot of people forget, I mean, Otani's 29 years old. So at 10 years from now, he's a 39-year-old pitcher or hitter or both. And even if he can't pitch again, he might be your left fielder. I don't know. But he definitely, will get the money. So that's where we are today. All right, my friend. In hopes of getting you out there so you can do some shopping before the end of the day. What's going on tonight in your neck of the woods with regard to your picks, which can be found in the show box below?
I'll tell you what, Jim. I'm gonna be after tomorrow. I'm gonna be all shopped out for the entire year. But what people
There
should
ain't that much
definitely be
year left.
doing. Yeah, but you know what people, I won't be shopping, but the people should definitely be shopping my premium picks here. You
There
can
you
get them
go.
at bigal.com, pickadvisor.com, and the insidersroom.com. All the links are in the description below. And yeah, I'm coming off a nice 3-1 day. Had a Champions League 2-1 and a win in NBA. Had the Warriors plus three and a
Hmm.
half. If you got the line late, you didn't get the win.
Hmm.
It was a really tight one, but that's why gotta bet them early in the morning. So you gotta beat the line movement, right?
Hmm.
But yeah, tonight I got some Champions League plays. I missed with my game of the month yesterday, but my other
Hmm.
two Champions League plays won. I got a total of the month up for today, so you can go check that out. And I also got an NBA play as well as a college basketball play. I'm crushing it. I'm on an 18-3 run in NBA right now,
Wow.
and college basketball, I'm up 16 units on the season. So,
Mm.
yeah, make sure you go check out the premium plays and let's make some cash tonight.
Well, there's also the opportunity to do that, and it could be a stocking stuffer for friends. It could be, it could be a nice little gift for someone you know. So give the gift of Amadeus in this holiday season.
Exactly. Nobody loves the only thing people love more than placing the bet
Hmm.
and winning and going to cash it after is when someone just gives them the ticket and says, "Here, I placed this bet for you.
Right.
Got Amadeus's premium pick. There you
Right.
go. Go. Here's the ticket. Go cash it. Merry Christmas."
Yeah. There you go. See, and they can go last minute shopping. So there you go. All right, my friend. We will see us. We got another one to do tomorrow, and it's Friday, and all kinds of fun stuff coming up. So have a lovely night. Sorry, ladies and gentlemen, for the technical difficulties, but fortunately, there's been enough people here to be entertained. We greatly appreciate that, and we shall see you in the next 24 to 48 hours. So depending upon how the wonderful tech gods give us. But no, seriously, we'll see it, everybody. Have a great day. Thanks for being with us, and we'll see you soon. Um, we might not be able to end this, folks. We're doing our best. Hang on. Literally, I can't stop the. All right. Tell you what, we're gonna leave the studio, you and I, and I'll come back and end it.
All right, sounds
All right,
good then.
buddy. Have a good day. Bye.
Have a good one.
ask him to